It's been a long time since I played Myst. Not that I didn't have the opportunity. I feel like this one's been remade a few times over the years, and it's had some sequels as well. The one I remember, though, that was the original. It was the early 90s. I was a literal child, so I remember that game being tough. Sure, you might scoff now, but it wasn't like today back then. There weren't hundreds of walkthrough videos and articles immediately available if you got lost, and it was still very possible to actually be forced to solve a mystery without a safety net. I can't really describe the nostalgia I felt with this newest version of Myst. I'll start with this. They did an absolutely incredible job capturing that original wow factor of the original Myst and bringing it up to modern standards. The art, just like in the original, it's gorgeous. While I don't have a VR set here, this title is also very capable, and the prospect of exploring the ages of Myst in VR actually sounds pretty badass. On the topic of sound itself, the original immersive sounds also brought back a ton of memories. Unfortunately, this is a much shorter game than I remember. This one's very true to the original, and there are ultimately very few puzzles to solve over the course of the entire game. The original island feels rife with mystery at first, but each mystery solved ultimately just takes you to a unique age, where there's one or two puzzles to solve before you return. While the locations are gorgeous, the gameplay experience wasn't brought up to more modern standard, and it feels wanting in some areas. An example for you is the camera. You can use it to snap photos of clues so you can recall them for later. It sounds convenient, but there's no convenient way to access it outside the main game menu. It's obviously very tacked on and it feels awkward. If you open the camera by accident, there isn't even a command to close it. You'd have to open and close the main menu. For those unfamiliar with the story of Myst, there's not a lot of story to tell. I'm not actually even totally clear on who I am, or how I ended up here. You touch a book when the game starts, and you wind up in a lighthouse library type of area. Your goal becomes to collect pages. There's red and blue, to add to the red and blue books of two brothers. These guys sort of explain themselves more and more. I can tell you that they need these pages to leave their books, but they also accuse each other of being liars, and they aren't very helpful. I also really want to add that neither of them do a very good job of making me feel like going out of my way for them. They're obviously both insane and very flawed people. What's a weird thing to realize is somehow a remake of this game, maybe because it's been such a classic and the ideas have been used everywhere else now, it just doesn't feel like much of a puzzle anymore. It could be that I feel that way because it's been like 25 years and I was a pretty dumb kid, but these puzzles are a cakewalk because just about everything you interact with in this game is either a way to solve them or an obscure hint. Many of the puzzles can be half solved so the rest can just be guessed, and only a few are really obscure to figure out, since there just aren't that many possibilities. The biggest challenge here most of the time is finding what objects can be interactable, because the improved graphics make that aspect slightly less obvious than the original game, and it can be easy to overlook a button or a keyhole. Now, when they brought back the PT Cruiser, and I don't remember anyone asked anyone to do that, at least they upgraded more than just the body. In this case, as much as this is a beautiful experience and it hits you right in the nostalgia, there's hardly any game here for the price. And it's hard to say that, because I know a lot of effort went into the artwork to get everything perfect, but this feels like an old original car with a deceptively modern look. Getting off the main island for the first time is incredible, but the first stage I went to, Wet Endor, I didn't even have a chance to feel immersed before I realized it was all over. This zone is a great example of the issue that really sticks out. There's a lot of very pretty, very empty space. What feels like it should be a casual exploration felt more like speedrunning until I found something to interact with. These buildings you see here, with all the intricate details, props, etc., they're all literally useless. There's only a few here that have anything at all that you can interact with. While expanding on the game would have changed it from the original, all I can say is that much better use could have been made out of this experience and effort. As in the original, the only point is to find the pages and return to the library, and there's only 4 ages you'll travel to in your journey, meaning there's a total of what feels like maybe 20 puzzles to complete the game. Now I'm sure there's folks out there that wouldn't mind dumping $30 into pure nostalgia, so there's a market for that. But I can't recommend this version of Myst to anyone for the gameplay. I don't normally focus too much on value in an aftermath video, but this is a unique case because this title's only riding on the coattails of its own previous success, so the target audience would be really just existing fans. Myst is certainly a legend in terms of influence, but The ideas it brought to the table have been innovated on in tons of ways over the years, and the puzzles in this game just feel ancient and primitive, because they are. If this was a person's first time with Myst in general, I'm not really sure they'd enjoy the experience, and I don't really foresee this one bringing a lot of new fans to the series. Some modern UI conveniences, like even just a keybind for the photo album, would have done wonders to make this more approachable. But to me, it doesn't seem like their goal was to remake Myst as much as it was to resell Myst. If you happen to own a VR headset, and I'm sure I'll get one for reviews at some point, I do feel like there's certainly some great scenery to take in here as well, but I'm not really sure that that does a lot to justify the price either. With the market so incredibly full of indie titles that blow the value of this one right out of the water, even if you're curious, you may want to wait until this game eventually ends up in a bundle or falls into some sort of deep discount before you give it a shot. It's very pretty, and it makes decent use of my new video hardware, but it still feels disappointingly bare to have been the result of almost 30 years of possible ideas and innovation. Anyway, as always, I appreciate your time with me today. If I just saved you some money, you're welcome. Thanks for watching.